What's up, folks? This is Wade. Welcome to Beardcast. With me again, Brian. What's going on, bud?
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
And we got Mitch back there where he belongs.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Behind.
What we got today?
We got beer, bro.
Yep.
Millside Pills. Where's this shit made? New City Brewery in Massachusetts. Cheers, bud.
Cheers.
Thanks for tuning back in, folks. That doesn't taste as fancy as the can makes it look like it should.
No, that's just regular beer.
Yeah.
That's just...
Yeah. This is Bud Light Plus. So, Millside Pills, it's okay.
Yeah, first, let's not shame the Bud Lights. Okay? I'm having a problem with the shaming of the Bud Lights. No. That is a delicious beer. It's good.
It was good to see you again.
All right, well,
All right.
see y'all later. But no, come on now. Like, if it's a hot summer day, you're by the pool, dude, crushing some Bud Lights, that's fine.
I mean, everyone's got their cheap beer.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their cheap beer. I drink Corona Light at my house.
Oh, si, senor.
Si. If I do just the mustache, I could get away with that.
Then you'd be the perfect millennial.
Oh, fuck off. Way too old for that.
Way too gray.
Good Lord. I work for a living.
So what's new? What's going on?
Same old shit, man. It's been hot as fuck this week.
Yes.
So, pass. We're in Massachusetts, and like, so all of our Texas guys just went, fuck you.
I don't care.
Yeah, they weren't happy with us, but it's been muggy. It's been 90s. I'm not cool with it.
I'll be honest. Like, I have been wrecking my body. So
that temple of yours?
It was bad, okay? Like, the temple got really bad. Everyone's like, dad bods are in. No, it's not. You know, along with diabetes, also not in. Okay? Yeah, I'll shame you right now. I don't care. Like, my entire family has diabetes, so I'm like, all right, we gotta get this together. The business model of the gym when you're 30 plus is absolutely awful. Why do they have to make everything so heavy? Like, I lift it up and I'm like, come on.
I didn't know they had weights in your Zumba class.
Like, it's just so bad. And it's like, I can lift this. No, I can't. And then you got, you know, like a little pixie next to me that's just throwing up more weight than I am. And I'm like, come on. It's awful. And then all these advertisers, like on Facebook and stuff like that, with like the CrossFit and all that. I don't need to see your ripped bodies, right? And they're like, come work out. Because I'm just going to be dry heaving next to that person, crying a little bit, saving it for when I get to the shower. You know, like, so I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to diet, and it's just been awful. I don't know how much longer I have. We're 1 week in.
I don't do that. 1
week in, and we're going to see how this goes. I'll keep you updated, but I don't have high hopes, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's good. You know, I've been working a little bit more with the crews lately. If you don't know, I have a small business that I run, and we basically do like movings and house clean outs and stuff like that. Usually I just drive around and talk to people, and this is the face of the business. So, but I've been working on the crews a little bit more lately, and I'm sore as shit. And they always really look like, when I look at them and go, you guys do this every day?
Yeah, bro.
This is awful.
Working for you for a day?
Oh, yeah, he came and worked for me this weekend.
So I worked for Wade for a day. Not smart. You saw me burn out real quick. There was a hot flash of like, give me a sledgehammer. I got this. And then I was just on the side, just like, I don't got this.
So Mitch, I'm going to ask you behind the camera. If you were to come out somewhere and say, like, have to take a shed down with someone, and I handed you a sledgehammer, would you go full-fledged, wheeling that thing around like you were a goddamn Viking? Yeah. Or would you pace yourself a smidge?
No.
Oh, you definitely pace yourself.
No.
It's a marathon, not a race.
No, going hot. Going hot. I'm going to show you what I got. I'm not going to let anyone else on your crew show me up. They all did. And then I just started chugging water and praying that I don't die. So thanks for that as well.
He's swinging this sledge around, and I'm just with the pry bar just like popping off molding off of this shed. I'm like, you're screwing up, man.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And it was awesome.
And I'm still paying for it right now. So that's awesome.
It was a good time.
Everything just hurts, right?
Yeah.
I am 36 years old. I am not young. The body is just like, stop it. We're meant to like watch it like a documentary on the couch, you know, in air conditioning. Mm-hmm. And I'm outside throwing a sledgehammer around. It's just a lot of pain right now. But besides that,
I appreciated you, bud.
Yeah.
So you couldn't hang with the guy with the dad bod?
No, because he worked smarter, which come to find out was the better plan. But I had something to prove, and I proved nothing.
I've done it a couple times. Though.
yeah.
There's my fallback.
I do office work now, right? I did physical labor. I moved up into management, and then I'm like, I can still do this. And to anyone that knows me at my job, no, I can't. So I just like I am going to be that guy now that cramps up because of my mouse pad. Like that's just life now.
I still appreciate you,
yeah.
bud.
Yeah.
So I was actually in here recently, and speaking of what we've been up to, and we did a recording basically talking all about Second Amendment rights, gun disclaimers, things like that, and general myths. You were in here, for that. What are your thoughts on basically the misconceptions of people that looked at the Second Amendment as for like just old time? They only meant muskets. It wasn't meant for people to hold, fully semi-automatic or whatever the heck some of those people call it now.
I believe it's assault rifle. That is the term.
That's my favorite one.
That's the favorite term there. Yeah.
Yes, along with my assault putter.
I have one of those. So no, all right. I think the biggest problem with gun owners, and I'm a gun owner, right?
Yeah.
I have guns. Is other gun owners, right? We as a whole, no pun intended, shoot ourselves in the foot more time than anything else. Okay? Like responsible gun ownership, not a problem. No one would really care if everyone was just responsible gun owners. It's when some kid, right, that his daddy didn't hug him enough or something like that and goes shoots up at school, then it becomes a big problem. Instead of holding that person accountable, we're going to go after the guns. And then you have, all the gang crimes and stuff like that, right? Guns are used. It's the guns. It's not the people and stuff like that. I don't think anyone would have a problem with the Second Amendment if there weren't, the mass shootings and all that kind of stuff that happened with guns.
And the tricky part about all that stuff, though, is it falls outside the legal spectrum. So when people argue the Second Amendment, it's looking at the law, the Constitution, looking at law-abiding citizens and saying, we got to take these away, but all of the actions that they're arguing against are illegal actions. It's like saying you should outlaw drugs to fight the opioid crisis. It's like, well, that's already a thing.
Well, that's the thing, right? From what I understand, and don't get me wrong, not that smart, is that you got people that are like, okay, you got to make it illegal. You can't have this. You can't have that. You can't have that. And I'm like, okay, well, 15 years ago, marijuana was illegal. And I can tell you right now, it was everywhere, right? Yeah. So all you're saying is people that are trying to do it legally can't have it. Okay, so then you only get 10 rounds in a magazine or something like that. And then a criminal has, I don't know, 20, 30, whatever. Yeah. It's just if you take something that's legally binding by the Constitution and you say, well, we're going to limit you, then you're just okay, well, the black market's not just going to flourish because it's not going away. So I look at my gun as a tool, like a Leatherman, right? I'll have it on me. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And if everyone took that same freaking stance, I don't think there's any argument.
I just think a lot of the arguments are misguided, and again, we've seen the arguments on TV, and not to get political, but a lot of the people that are against guns and the gun grabs and whatnot, you hear them talk about it, and they know nothing. They know nothing. There's a video of one guy saying that an AR-15 puts a hole in a guy this big. It's nope.
No, but then on the other hand, right? Then you got, what was it, Gun Girl going to college campuses, right? And stuff like that, and just throwing it in people's faces. That's not helping anything either.
No. So,
no. I mean, it's it's just too extreme nowadays. It's you're either completely anti-gun, right, and all that, and you're going to hold up the daisy and do your thing, or you got Second Amendment, plastered on your huge raised truck, and then you're walking out and it's just pictures of guns all over your shirt and stuff like that, and the Second Amendment hat while you chug your PBR.
I feel you're profiling a smidge.
I'm just saying that's not helping anything either. So
no, it definitely does it. It definitely does it. But it's just like I said in the little monologue thing that I did earlier. But you look back into the history of it, it's guns with repeating systems are not a new thing. It's been around since the 1700s. So that kind of kills that argument. It's people like, oh, you should only hold guns if you're part of like this big organized militia. Nope, that's not part of it as well. An armed populace is meant to, be able to defend themselves from a tyrannical government, which we've seen a little bit of here and there.
I mean, it's just like everyone just needs to calm down. Like you and me were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone just needs to relax. Stop caring so much. And that sounds awful. And I get that, right? Just stop caring. Like, if something happens on the other side of the country, does it really affect your life? Does it really, I know there's a lot of things going on, and I'm not even going to indulge in it because realistically, it doesn't affect me. And that's, and if more people were like, hey, I don't think this is right or that's right, okay, whatever.
Not necessarily don't care, it's calm down.
Just calm down. Because, I mean, if Wade's carrying a gun, I'm still going to get my gas at Cumbies and nothing changes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, as long as society acts appropriately, like responsible adults, which I know is asking a lot nowadays, right? If you just act normal, everyone's fine.
True.
And society just goes on, right? Like, it's in the Constitution, you can have a gun. Fine. And every other country in the world likes to make fun of us because we're very pro-gun. We love our guns. We're never going to take away our guns, right? It's just not going to happen. Like, everyone that's like, we're going to take away all the guns, that's just not going to happen.
No.
Okay? It's just not going to. So can we just move on to hey, there's just ways we can make it safer or better, or so, delusional, crazy people don't get them? Fine. Find the right way to do that so that, you can't go to a gun show and have an unlimited magazine and something like that, and a 15-year-old gets it or something like that. That's just, okay, whatever.
I mean, that's part of one of the myths, so to speak, that comes up a lot. People think there's this gun show loophole, and there's not. But I see what you're saying.
Right.
One thing that I've gotten a little bit of flack for from super pro two-way types, so I'll go even a little bit on the other side of it, is I have no problem with background checks.
Yeah.
None at all. So some people are like, any gun laws an infringement. I don't quite dig that. I'm not for the fact that I'm in Massachusetts, this lovely republic, that I can only hold 10 rounds in a gun.
It's adorable.
It's pretty freaking lame. Ugh, so annoying. But I have no problem if you have to have a background check. If you've committed a violent crime, if
Right.
you're a violent felon, if you're obviously schizophrenic, sorry, you don't own a gun. Rights are also at the same point able to be given up via your actions, and I catch a little bit of flack for that from some of the other truck driving CBR,
but I mean, it's just it's not a crazy concept. It's just, hey, you're going to be held responsible for your actions.
Weird concept.
It comes down just to that. Hey, if you try to kill your wife 3 times with a knife and it doesn't work out, no, I probably shouldn't sell you a gun. And you've been to trial and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you're being held responsible for your actions. It means the same thing with voting,
Yeah.
right? If you're a felon, I believe, you can't vote. You gave up that right. That's just a thing. Sorry, you committed a crime. For every decision you make, you have to deal with the consequences. My wife tells me that all the time. Yes, Mitch.
I think with the background checks, the part that makes people so wary on them is not so much for the violent behavior, it's the mental health aspect. So that's been the big push over the past 2 years, because every mass shooting, there's one thing in common with 99% of the mass shooters.
Yeah.
They're on some sort of psychopathic drug.
Right.
Whether it be antidepressants, SSRIs, or whatever the case is. So how far do you go to deny someone the right to bear arms? If someone has depression, do they no longer get to bear arms? Because you're taking away half the military coming home. You're taking away people that live everyday normal lives.
Well, I mean,
So it's a slippery slope. So I think that's the biggest question with the background checks. It's not the guy that beats his wife at home and has domestic violence charges. Yeah, he probably shouldn't have a firearm.
right.
But the mental health aspect of it, how do you deem the schizophrenia so bad that person's not allowed?
So would you say you need a doctor's note to get a gun?
I have no idea. I mean, with HIPAA involved, another regulatory thing that makes this tough is no one's supposed to know your medical background.
Yeah, but I mean, if I'm severely depressed, and a veteran and all that, right? You come back and you got some mental issues. Yeah, you probably shouldn't have a firearm. That's just, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I know it's your right and stuff like that. I'm not disagreeing on that aspect, but if you're not of mental sound, you probably shouldn't. I mean, for most of the medications, you can't drive, right? If they're like, don't operate heavy machinery after taking like a Xanax or something like that, like if you can't operate machinery, you probably shouldn't have a firearm.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I would say if the doctor deems you a threat to yourself,
right,
then that would go. I don't think necessarily depression falls into that category. Just because you have depression doesn't mean you're a threat to yourself or other people. But if you're schizophrenic, yeah, then something like that, or it's not called bipolar anymore. You know what I mean? Like if you have some sort of
called bipolar anymore.
No, I think they changed that shit.
I can't keep talking.
Yeah.
But like, first off, quick side note: do you find it weird that most of the side effects of antidepressants is depression? Like just one of those quick blips. Sorry, like I see on the commercials, like this antidepressant, it's awesome, it may make you more depressed, you could possibly kill yourself, but besides that, like it's good, there's a chance you could be better.
Kind of tells you it's a placebo at that point. Like this might just not work.
It's like it's kind of like the same thing, like when it's like my leg, right? You've seen it, right? I have a restless leg, it goes nonstop. They once came out with a pill for it, and they're like, this pill will get rid of your restless leg, but it will encourage like gambling, drinking, like every like vice there was. And I was like, check. I don't even need that pill already.
You were in the military. You already have all that shit.
But it was just like, wait, so my leg won't shake, but I'm going to gamble of when it comes back. Like, sorry. Yeah, Second Amendment. But
this will come all around full circle.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, as a society, we understand the Constitution, and I think you did a pretty good explanation of it. I think it just needs to come down to, like, we have to hold each other responsible. And gun owners have to hold gun owners more responsible than they have. So it's not like but the problem is that, right, is that if a mass shooting happens, one side's going to go after the gun, and then the other side should be like, no, you can't go after the gun because that's our right, whereas we should just focus more on the personal responsibility.
It seems to be something that's fleeting in society right now is personal responsibility as a whole. And because then it becomes, again, personal, and everyone in this kindergarten country is afraid to make someone else sad. So they can't necessarily look at you and be like, you did something stupid, you need to pay for it. I mean, it's to the point now where you can barely even, you can do whatever you want in front of a cop, and they're telling you it's like a misdemeanor now. So because they don't want to hurt.
I don't want to be a cop right now.
No,
and if there's a crime going on and I was a police officer, I'd just be like how bad? Because I don't want to get involved. I don't need to be on camera.
Yeah.
I don't want to. But
you would think that police right now would be throwing up like pro Second Amendment everything, because responsible legal gun owners are responsible for 1% of gun crimes. Don't quote me on that number, but it's insanely low.
We make them up.
It's insanely low. Yeah, I'll tell you if it's a fake stat. All right, my point is it's a very low number of legal gun owners committing crimes. So if I were a cop right now, I would be like, yes, if you qualify to have a gun, if you are a Second Amendment supporter, we need help.
What I don't understand is why more people go after like the rifles and stuff like that have high mags and stuff like that, when the number one gun of crime is the handgun.
This little fella.
Like, why are you not going after that? Like, I am sure, I have no idea about the stats, but the 9mm handgun is probably the most used criminal weapon in the world. And they're like, no, it's the assault rifle.
Yeah. It's the one that you can see coming.
Right. Like
a mile away, not the one that you can hide on your hip.
And like, how far do we go with it, right? Like, if we're not going to hold people responsible, fine. Okay, let's get crazy. So we got to make, how many people die from car accidents? We should probably make those illegal. I mean, even in Europe, they're like, oh, we got rid of all our guns. Yeah, they're just plowing each other over with cars at some point. Yeah. I'm like, well, you got to make the truck illegal. That was deadly. Then there's knives, right? Those can hurt you. So we got to take those away. So at what point do we just regulate it so far that it just comes to like, I'm gonna slap you really hard.
It's like working for a micromanager.
Right.
You show up to work, you're good at your job, you do your job until someone's over your shoulder all the time, and then all of a sudden you find out that you're doing everything wrong, and it's because of the stresses of all the new additional rules, all the new additional eyes. I mean, you live in Maine.
Yeah.
The gun laws in Maine are not very strict.
Nah.
No, it's pretty much like, you breathe,
You got it.
you bought a sandwich from us today, you get this gun along with it.
There's, you know, like, if you buy a truck, I'll give you a rifle. I mean, it's just great. That's
Yeah.
America.
And it's so close. And we live in Massachusetts, and I go to the same dealer, Pioneer Valley Arms on Shaker Road in East Longmeadow, for all my firearm stuff.
Right.
And every time I go in, I have to fill out a 2-page form. They know me by name. I'm like, you could probably still see my form from the last time I was in here. It's right there.
I mean, like, I still got filled.
Photocopy it.
Yeah, I still got filled the form, right?
Yeah.
But like concealed weapon law, like the permit and all that, they're like, nah. If you bought it and you got cleared,
Yeah.
you can conceal it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how it is pretty much here as well. But it's.
I mean, it's just one of those things that, I mean, like, I never had a gun before I joined the military, right?
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't live in that world. I lived in suburbia, hence the baby blue polo. But, like,
You look adorable, by the way.
I really appreciate that. So, you know, like, I just never been around it. Didn't join the military. And then I got stationed out in Alaska, okay? Where guns
Need one to live.
is like, you don't live without a gun. That's just, not just because of the people are crazy, but the animals will just literally eat you at any given point. Right? Like, first time I went to a grocery store, guy reaches over for a gallon of milk and he's got like 245 strapped on his back, and I'm like, what are we doing here? You know? And then like I started talking to the guys I was stationed with, and they're like, yeah, you got to get a gun. I'm like, I don't feel like I really need to. They're like, do you want to go fishing with us? I'm like, okay, I guess so. There's nothing else to do. And they're like, then you need to get a gun because there's a possibility that a bear will come in and stuff like that. And I'm like, what world are we living in here? They're like, America, son.
Did you get a 22?
It was
To shoot a bear.
Beautiful little pink Beretta.
Yeah.
No, but like I got my 40 Smith & Wesson. You know, they're like, you need at least that to protect yourself. And they're like, even that, you unload it, you better keep running. But that was just, so then I came back home to Maine on leave, and I'll never forget this. Me and my friends were going out, and I grabbed my gun, and I put it in, and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I got a gun. And they're like, why do you have that? And I'm like, in case someone else has a gun. And they're like,
Crazy concept.
That's not how this works. And I'm like, that's exactly how this works.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just, you know, like that culture thing and stuff like that. But the only way that guns get into like the media, the news, and all that is when something bad happens, right? Rarely do you hear about like, and I try to look them up on occasion, you know, like a person at home defends their house with a gun and it's a legal shooting and all that because someone was trying to inflict harm on him or his family. And I think that's just like, yeah, like that doesn't make the news. So the only thing that's making the news, the only thing that's out there to the people is when bad things happen with guns.
Well, it's a ratings grab. I mean,
Right.
we all know how the mainstream media goes, and that's all stuff that it's like mind-numbingly awful. That's why like I avoid it in conversations a lot of time here, you know, like on the tap room and in beer
Right.
cast, because it's just mind-numbingly obvious that they want you to focus on the bad. But if you show a home invasion that was stopped by a legal gun owner with a gun who did everything the right way, it doesn't exactly fit a media narrative, so to speak.
Right, and the thing is that no matter what stance you take, you're going to be labeled, right?
Yeah.
If I say, hey, I don't really believe that like this gun should have happened with this, they're like, oh, you liberal piece of crap. And then if I say like, well, this is a legal shooting and like this guy defended his house and all that, they're like, you redneck hillbilly. So there's just no winning. It's just kind of like, I'm like, you know what? I said, I have my guns at home because I have daughters, and I have my guns at home. They're safe. They're locked up. It's never an issue. When we go out, I have my weapon on me. I don't drink when I'm concealed and stuff like that, you know, and I'm just a responsible gun owner. And realistically, 9.9 times out of 10, no one knows I have it on me. No one needs to know I have it on me. And it's just there in the off chance that something bad happens.
Yeah.
And that's the intent.
Yeah. Now, are you going to teach your kids about them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, they're still a little too young.
Oh, yeah.
At
Like,
this point.
my oldest is 3, will
Yeah.
be 4 in September. And then my youngest is 2. And, well, I shouldn't say that because my youngest, realistically, is due August 20th. So she's coming out. My wife is ready to done. She's done being pregnant. She's like
exceptionally pregnant.
yeah. She's like, this baby can come out now. I'm like, nope. The bun is not done in that oven. So keep being pregnant. But easy to say as a guy.
Third baby, it should just like
All C-sections. So we gotta go down that path. But on that aspect, it's just kind of like one of those things where they're not old enough yet to learn about guns. I think my oldest has seen it a couple times and kind of related it to TV. Like, Daddy, she asked one time, she goes, Daddy, do you shoot people? And I'm like, no.
whoopsie.
No.
No.
Yeah, like one of those things, like you think she's asleep on the couch,
Yeah.
you put on a mommy daddy show, right? And then, there's guns. And then so clearly she saw that. And then she saw me putting my gun away in the safe that she cannot reach, and it's coded, so all that. And she's like, do you shoot people? I'm like, no. Daddy just has this to protect the family. And that was the end of it, because like after that, she's like, hey, look, shiny shoe.
Yeah.
So that was it. Then she goes back to her Starbucks and her Uggs and lives life the way she
Raising
should.
the most basic toddler.
She is, and I love it. I mean, she's adorable, but she definitely walks around the house with like one of Jen's little Coach purses and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, she's gonna be expensive.
You need more guns.
Hey, 2 guns, 2 daughters. What do you think is happening when that third one comes out?
Now, see, I doubled up the ratio.
Well, you had.
I have 2 guns. I have 2 daughters, and I have 200 guns.
That makes sense.
I don't have 200 guns. I have a lot, but no, I started teaching my kids about them when they were 5.
That's
They were 5, and whenever I teach them about them, if I'm showing them about the firearm, it's completely safe, and the mag's like up on somewhere else. It's like away. I'll put the gun away, and then I'll show them what the magazine looks like. And I'll be like, and you have to put these 2 pieces together like a puzzle to make it go.
And make pew pew.
Yeah, but they can tell you every single gun I have between my revolvers, my pistols, my shotgun, my AR, all of them. They can tell you if it's safe, if it's dangerous. They know the basis of how to hold them, even though I don't let them hold them. It's like, hey, this is how you hold it because this part moves. You don't want slide burn at 5.
Just getting the basic concepts down at a good early age and learning I think, like when I start talking to the girls about it, because it's obviously going to come up at some point. It's just learning the responsibilities of it, right? Yeah. Like, it's not a toy. It's not like you see on TV, right? 1, we don't point sideways. 2, like, you got to learn the responsibilities that this is, if you pull this out, someone's going to die.
Yeah.
That is, like the real justification of it is that if you pull out a weapon, it's for someone to die.
Yeah.
So you're taking that on, and
I wanted my kids to be like desensitized to it.
Yeah.
So I
to an extent.
To an extent, yeah. But to the point where like if they see it, like if I put it on the mantle, or if I go and I put it up in the safe, they don't like sit there and go. They
just
don't.
Staring at
they
it.
don't. Yeah, they don't deer in the headlights at it. They're like, oh, Daddy's putting his gun away.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, as a kid, I never been around it.
Yeah.
Funny little story. So one time I went to my great grandmother's house, like one time, right? My grandfather was showing me where he grew up and stuff like that. And I'd never been around hunting. My father's not a hunter by any means. And they had a deer head on the wall. Now, I'm like, I don't know, 6, whatever. I'll throw an age out there. Complete lie. I have no idea. But I was young. And I see this deer head on the wall. And I remember going around the wall to see where the rest of the deer was because I couldn't understand the concept. Right? And they're like, no, my grandfather's like, we shot the deer. And I'm just like, why? And just like, I just didn't understand it. Like, and it's just that world that so I think it's good for your girls and hopefully when my girls get older to kind of get into that world a little bit to understand. Whereas,
would your wife let my kids teach your kids about guns? We can just sit there and drink beer and see if they're right.
That's not going to happen
at
all.
Okay.
No.
It's worth a shot.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Always invited to come up to Maine so you can see what real freedom's like. But
Mitch rolls his eyes. We're in Massachusetts right now.
But always feel free. But I don't think kids teaching kids about guns, I don't think at any point my wife's to be like, this is a good idea. Well, you drink beer on the side? Perfect. And that's...
I mean, it's It's always worth.
But these are the things about fatherhood you kind of learn, right? It's like
Trial and error.
It's a trial and error thing. My TV comes with like 900 pages about how to turn it on and like record stuff, but they're like, "Hey, here's a body. Good luck," you know. And it's like, do I get any instructions? They're like, I don't know, YouTube it. You know, I had millions of questions when I became a dad, but as I've progressed into fatherhood, I don't think at any point, just knowing my wife, that I'm like, hey, Wade's kids are coming over. They're going to teach our kids about firearm safety while we drink beers in the back. I just don't think that's a good sell. There's a way to twist it. I don't see it yet.
Mitch, you want to go?
Yeah, I just want to know if it's worth it to live in Maine for all that freedom. Because I just watched you get excited over the fact that you got Arby's.
Okay, first off.
And that's a pretty low standard of living if you're excited that you saw an Arby's in Massachusetts.
Because the only Arby's in my area is at the mall. And I guess, yeah, okay.
They have them all.
We have the Portland Mall. It's very exciting. But yeah, like my cheat meal is like, I'm getting myself some Arby's. They have an Arby's right here. That's pretty fun. On the reverse side, like I have, a concealed carry. I also have an Ocean. Do you have that around here? Western Mass? No, you don't. And then I have great seafood all over the place. And then I have rich people to kind of wish that I was in Kennebunkport and stuff like that.
You know we can drive like an hour to Gloucester, right?
No, but you guys don't. So
living on the eastern side of the state comes with more freedoms than living on the western side of the state because there's an ocean?
No, just my northeastern side is just way better. It's Maine, the way life should be. It's on the sign.
You guys don't have a sports team.
We don't. Neither do you. It's New England.
Boston Bruins.
We have one labeled New England.
Okay, but that's the big one.
And you wholeheartedly follow all the Boston sports teams.
I do. But you're like so far. You're further from Boston than I am.
Hey, they have a G League team in the basketball.
That's cute.
No, we also have a hockey team as well. I heard. I don't go to it. But
College.
No, they have like a G League or something like that in Portland.
It's not a real thing.
Not a real thing. But they got a hockey team out there. I heard they have a great franchise for anyone that's watching. But no, I love the New England teams. I like the Boston teams, but you guys are further from Boston than I am, so you guys can't really count that either. Western Mass is not like Boston. It's very different. You guys have like dragons and stuff out here. This is more this is more woody than my area of even Maine.
Boston's such a small state. All the people that are out west listening to this right now will be like, are they really specifying eastern from western Massachusetts?
It's that big of a thing, yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Florida, right? There's North and South Florida. I mean, it's all freaking crazy. If you're from Florida and watching this, goddamn. Like, I'll be convinced, like, what was it, the Tiger King? I was convinced that entire thing took place in Florida.
Did you watch that?
Oh, God, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
First off, I just gotta say, I was convinced, first off, that it took place in Florida because it all just screams Florida, like, no, that guy lives in Oklahoma. And second, huh?
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. But the second thing, how powerful is meth when it converts your sexuality? Like, this guy is a gay, addicted to meth, like flamboyant tiger owner of a backyard zoo who had like a husband and stuff like that. Then the husband gets divorced. He's like, I was never gay before I met him. And then I had my wife now with my kids. And I'm like, this drug turned you gay. Like, that is crazy to me. Like, you're like, meth is so good. I am going to go live with tigers and this gay cowboy in Oklahoma for that drug. I don't know that TV right there. If you don't like that TV, I don't know you as a person, because at first I was like, this is white trash TV. And then like 2 episodes in, I'm like, I may be white trash because I love this and I'm streaming it.
I didn't watch it and I couldn't bring myself to watch it, but it teeters on the fact of, is meth so good that he went with his life that way, or is it so bad that it turned his life that way?
I don't know, because I mean, like, if you take it, I have no idea. Obviously, I don't do meth. I have all my teeth. They're not great, but I have them.
Yeah, they look like they're fighting.
Thanks, bud. But the other thing is that, like, if you get one taste of it and you're like, I'd go gay for this. I'd go like, that's some power. That's a great question for the tap room, right? I'm sure there's a gay guy out there somewhere. Can you just let me know? Would you go straight for meth? Like, can you put it in the comments? Just, like, I guess, I assume now you got to try meth. So if you're willing to take that experiment for us, greatly appreciate it. If you have an Instagram, I'll like it. And then just let me know, like, after you try, you're like, I'd go straight for this. It's a great question. Like, I don't think that question's been asked.
I don't think you can, on camera, ask someone to try meth.
I'm just like, if you're curious and you happen to do meth, like, let me know if it would make you go straight, because clearly it makes some straight guys go gay.
I do want to say, though, for people that are watching and or listening,
Yeah.
Beardcast does not condone illegal drug use.
No, that's wrong. But let me know. So,
Damn it. So we're going to transition away from Tiger King right now because I think this is only going to go poorly. You brought something up to me the other day, and you're psyched about it.
yeah,
And you know where I'm going with this.
I love it. Okay.
So, The Last Dance.
Phenomenal.
I haven't watched it. I'm sorry. You told me to watch it.
I keep pushing you to watch this.
I haven't watched it. It's about arguably the greatest athlete of all time.
Michael Jordan.
Yes.
I love Michael Jordan so much. My first daughter's middle name is Jordan.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, are you fucking kidding me?
I swear to God. Jordan dominated my childhood. Dominated, okay? I had the stand-ups. I got the Wheatie boxes. I got the Space Jam Wheatie boxes. I got basketball cards. I got baseball cards. I got the jerseys. I had to save up for the shoes. I finally got them, right? Like, the Jordan era in the Chicago Bulls is my childhood. That is it. Like, I'll never forget how many times I was in the driveway, okay, practicing the infamous fadeaway jumper, tongue out, bricks all over the place, okay? I mean,
you were like Shaq at the foul line.
It was such a... No, more like Rodman at the foul line. Just kind of throw it up and pray for the best. But it was so bad that, like, when I got into, like, closer to high school, and, we haven't reached that part of fatherhood yet where you have to have, like, realistic talks with your kids. Like, hey, I know we say you can do whatever you want. Dreams can come true. Yours can't. Like, my dad had to have that talk with me, like, when I was a kid, because, like, I'm going out for the basketball team, right? I'm practicing my fadeaway jumpers. I'm going to be the next Jordan. He's like, dude, stop, okay? Like, your dreams are just not going to happen. I mean, it was like good fatherly advice because it was very true. He's like, my brother-in-law now was a friend of mine back in high school who started shaving at, like, 9, okay? And I came up to, like, his waist. And he's going out on the basketball team. Like,
and you're
other
a tall
people,
guy.
Now, I graduated high school at 5'9".
Fuck off.
I'm just saying, like, that's, short for adults that want to ride roller coasters. But, like, what I'm saying is that, like, he just had to sit there. He's like, okay, like, you don't have any height. Everyone is taller than you. You're not that good at dribbling. You've never landed any of those fadeaway jumpers. Like, unless you want to ride Pine and be embarrassed, that's your basketball career. Mm. And I had to take that in deep consideration because it was such a passion of mine, but it was like, you're right.
So you became a soccer player?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I was like, oh, you can be lanky over here? I'll be right over here. Yep. I wasn't Muggsy Bogues for any, throwbacks there. I wasn't short that could dribble all over the place and all that. Just couldn't do it. But the Chicago Bulls, I mean, in the, late 80s, early 90s, were such a dominant part of my life. I'll never forget, like, do you remember starter jackets?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I had a Philadelphia Eagles one.
Well, you were rock star.
So, I mean, obviously, a Patriots fan my whole life,
yeah.
Right? But growing up in the mid-'80s,
yeah,
not a whole lot of good Patriot stuff going on. So you couldn't even find them on TV.
Right.
The Eagles were on TV more, even in Western Massachusetts, than the Patriots were. They're one of the most televised teams out there.
Yeah.
I don't know why. They always have been. You can always find an Eagles game on.
Because there's crazy Philly fans everywhere.
And I used to love watching Randall Cunningham.
Yeah.
I didn't really care too much about the team. Randall Cunningham was the shit. So I got the starter jacket, and everyone's like, where's your Patriots jacket? I was like, the one that the store had got sold out because the Patriots are in the bottom of the barrel right now because, believe it or not, Steve Grogan's not that good. I'm sorry, neither's Plunkett.
So, like, I had to have, like, a Chicago Bulls starter jacket. Like, had to have it, right?
Of course.
And I'll never forget, like, again, random age, I have no idea. I'll say 10. I was, like, my 10-year-old birthday, and my parents got me, like, a Chicago Bulls jacket.
Yeah.
Wasn't starter. right? It was from the store called Riches. In a little hindsight, you were definitely not rich if you were shopping at Riches, okay? So like I put it on, and I'll never forget it. My mom reminds me of this to this day, and it says that it formed part of me. But my friend came up to me and he goes, looks at the zipper and goes, "Not a starter jacket," and then walked away. Right?
It didn't have the half zipper with pouch?
Nope. It was a full up zip, right? And I took the jacket off, never wore it again. And I said, I want a starter jacket. I need to have a starter jacket. And my dad was like, I'm not spending $200 for you to get a new jacket that you're going to grow out of in like a year.
Is that what they were?
Yeah, it's like $200.
Too many Christmas.
So what did I do? I went and got a paper route. I saved up all my little paper route money, and I bought myself the starter jacket. It was like 6 sizes too big because I didn't want to outgrow it.
Everyone under 30 just had a fucking hard blink because they don't know what a paper route is.
Right. Like it was a saying, it's called a newspaper. You need to deliver it way stupid early in the morning, and people gave you tips for it. But I saved up all my money. So one thing I can say is that Michael Jordan taught me how to work from what I want too. So
I think in that time frame, even if you weren't a Bulls fan, like I used to watch basketball a lot, but I was a big Celtics fan, right? You had no choice but to almost kind of be a Bulls fan at that point.
Oh my God.
Because you just couldn't beat them. So The Last Dance.
Okay. So Last Dance, it's like a documentary of their last real push for the number 6 championship, right? But it goes back like from when Jordan got drafted, and it kind of brings it up, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, Michael Jordan had Final Cut and everything. Yes, it is a Michael Jordan approved documentary, but it's the only one he's ever done. Yep. Like whenever there's anything about the Chicago Bulls or Michael Jordan, all they have is like old interviews of Jordan or anything like that. Like this one, he's sitting down, smoking a cigar, drinking some scotch, and telling it like he sees it. And I'll be honest, it's amazing. I am alone right now in my hotel room, like chanting it on. Like, you know, they're showing like game clips. I'm like, come on, yeah, like the shot, you know, like the jumps, gets it, wins the finals, and he's jumping up and down. Like the nostalgia is just like dripping off of me. It is so freaking amazing. I cannot, if you haven't seen it and you're not even a big sports fan, go watch it. It is amazing. It was like the #1 rated like sports documentary on ESPN and stuff like that when it first came out. And now it's on Netflix. It's a phenomenal thing.
Does it walk you through all 6 championships, or does it focus on that number 6?
No. Like the main focus is that, but it's like one of those things that goes back in time and it shows you like how Jordan came into the league, how his dominance just started to get out there, right? And then it goes through every championship and stuff like that. It is phenomenal. Could not recommend it enough. I'll be watching I've been pausing the ending because I don't want it to end. Like, it's just that good that I'm like, please don't end.
It ends, bro.
No, God. I mean, it was like the guy was like a master on the court, and then he was getting pushed around from like Detroit. So he's like, I'll bulk up and I'll dominate now. You know, and just like that dominance, you know, just to do that and still outscore everyone and just make everyone look ridiculous on the court. And then there's a drama behind it, like Isaiah Thomas. Why was he not on the '92 Dream Team, the infamous Dream Team?
Oh, they hated each other.
Right? And Jordan's like, I didn't say he couldn't be on it, but I didn't want to play with him.
Oh, yes, he freaking
Which I mean,
did.
like, that pretty much, like, we either have Michael Jordan or Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah. I mean, if it's anyone else saying not Isaiah, you're getting Isaiah, but when it's Michael Jordan saying you're not getting Isaiah,
And Jordan's like, listen, Bird didn't really like him. You know, Magic Johnson didn't really like him. You know, so he's like, he wouldn't change the dynamic. But if Jordan, the #1 player in the world at the time, says, I don't want to play with this guy.
But Jordan was one of the best trash talkers of all time. I'd say #2 trash talker of all time.
Who's #1?
Gary Payton. The glove, man. You watch him, because think about it. He was a lot smaller than a lot of other guys. Not a tiny dude, but Gary Payton was like usually undersized, usually not the fast guy on the court, got in dudes' heads. I mean, they called him the fucking glove for a reason. He was always all over you. But if you watch them, his mouth never stopped all game long.
Yeah.
All game long. So I would say Gary Payton's the #1 trash talker. Maybe up there with Reggie Miller.
How dare you?
What, Mitch?
The most famous trash talker in NBA history.
Don't even say Dennis Rodman.
Larry Bird.
You think Bird was a bigger trash talker?
Crazy. Okay, first off,
he's up there, but no.
No,
get out of here.
Because Bird did a different kind of trash talk. He didn't walk up to you and tell you a yo mama joke. He walked up to you and said, I'm going to hit a shot in your face right here to win the game. And then took the ball and hit a shot in your face right there to win the game.
But So did Jordan. So did Peyton. I mean, that's not an exclusive trait.
Oh, absolutely.
Calling your shot.
I mean, I know it's probably not the best thing to say in 2020 right now, but I mean, calling a shot as a white guy in the NBA was pretty. That's trash talking right there.
To yell at opposing coaches and tell them it was offensive that they put a white player to defend him.
I mean, it was the 80s. He could say
said
it.
that to another coach.
But I mean, there's plenty of footage of Reggie Miller calling his shot to win games as well. He did it all the time.
Who was?
Sure, but the problem with Reggie Miller was he missed them just as often as he made them.
For some reason, I'm missing the name, and I apologize. The Celtics big three, the number one trash talker on that big three was oh, come on.
What are you talking about?
Kevin Garnett.
When they won their
Kevin Garnett,
the most recent championship.
I loved when Garnett came to the Celtics, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
like when I first went to my first Celtics game with him on the team, and he's underneath the boards, and he's putting it, and you could just see him. And I paid enough money to sit close enough that I could hear him. I was like, this is my guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like Garnett is up.
Like Larry Bird was famous for telling the entire media he was going to play an entire game left-handed because the league bored him, and then he went out and played the game left-handed and scored 45 points.
He did do that.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but Jordan.
Saying, as a
But I don't think Larry Bird ever got to walk off the court. Gary Payton used to get guys to leave the court.
Oh, he did. I'll have to show you the documentary on Larry Bird. I'll send you the link to it, where guys recount playing against him. And the things he would do, the stories you don't hear about, like against MJ, for instance. When MJ was a rookie and they were practicing for the Dream Team,
Yeah.
a ball rolled over to the other side of the court. MJ came over, Bird picked it up, and MJ asked for the ball back. And Bird punted it across the gym and said, "You haven't earned that right yet."
Yeah, I think he earned it after. Because, I mean, MJ proved to be the greatest player of all time in the NBA.
Well, we'll get into that.
I'm just saying, and then, I mean, Jordan, in that documentary in The Last Dance, Charles Barkley's like, when they went against the Phoenix Suns, I want to say like 93, 94, somewhere in that time frame. And he's like, I laid it all out. I played the best game of my life. And Jordan still outshot me, out-rebounded me.
Well, they didn't play against each other. Barkley was a power forward.
But he just said, I played my best game, and Jordan still dominated.
Yeah.
He's like, he was the greatest player of all time.
As did Pippen and Rodman and Grant.
Michael Jordan made Tony Kukoc look like an all-star.
Well,
Kukoc was good in Yugoslavia, but I'm just saying,
Kukoc won him a couple of games with last-minute shots.
Right, he won the championship with one of them. But I'm just saying, when your entire team has to come out with Jordan rules and stuff like that, and has to come out with a way to stop one player, that frees up a lot of other people on the court. So yeah, Michael Jordan was such an attraction, and he got double teamed and he got pushed around, and he still got it. I'm just saying, Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time in the NBA. I don't care what. There's no defense.
Because I think you're living in nostalgia more than anything.
Are you kidding me right now? Well, okay, go ahead with your LeBron talk, because I don't even want to hear.
I don't even have to do just LeBron talk. Jordan played in an era where
punches were thrown and no fouls were called. Yes.
Player. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that. But he didn't have the competition there is today.
Oh, stop it.
He didn't. He played against what? An old Magic? An old Barkley?
No, Barkley was in his prime.
For the early years of Jordan.
And I wouldn't say Magic was old by the time Jordan started to dominate.
I can't watch the NBA right now because if I do this, that's a foul. Stop. And
when
LeBron.
did Jordan win his 6 rings? What years?
91, 92, 93, then 94, 95 was, and then 96, 97, 98.
So his prime was in the 90s.
Yeah.
What was Magic doing in the 90s?
8.
So, people,
on that note,
people give Jordan a lot of credit for playing against competition like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and the likes of such, when he was getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs.
Well, I'll give you this. It was definitely a different game. It was a lot more physical back then. So you had to worry about guys actually running into you. It was a harder play game, different, right? So LeBron maybe more I won't even say more, but different type of skill set. It's a more finesse game now. It's apples and oranges. It's like comparing batters of today with Babe Ruth. It's a whole different deal. Yeah. Who was it? Daniel Tosh made the thing of would Babe Ruth still be calling his shots if he was getting CeCe throwing him junk balls? No, he wouldn't. So Babe Ruth, one of the best hitters of all time, at his time in his era, Maybe not right now. Who knows how Jordan would be right now against a player like LeBron? But you can't. LeBron hasn't done for his teams what Jordan did for his.
Yeah, I disagree.
He didn't. LeBron doesn't bring the players around him up to the level
No,
that
he brings
Jordan
in great
brought
players.
his.
It's cheating.
No.
It's like, I'm just going to take the top players in the game and bring them around me.
Wasn't there an entire episode of The Last Dance revolving around the sole fact that Jordan said they needed to go get Rodman? Who was one of the premier players in the NBA.
Defensive players.
And they already had the second best player, arguably, in the NBA, and Scottie Pippen, who took a vicious pay cut to stack other...
You also got to understand, but when getting Rodman wasn't like we're going to get the best player in his prime at the time, right? No, they were taking on Rodman after he just tried, like he was a wild cannon. They had no, like the other team when he was on the Spurs, I believe, right? It was like, we can't control this guy. So they're just like, it's like taking on Antonio Brown right now.
But he ended up being great.
It was the start of the big threes is when that came out. Is that's when teams started looking at, like, if you have those big three players, that's when you're going to start winning championships.
Well, they took on a huge risk of taking on Dennis Rodman. It's not like I was taking on like this all-star player that is up on his game, works out every day, does all this stuff, right?
Sure, but it paid off.
Regimen. Well, yeah.
So the final outcome was they had another all-star player.
Whereas LeBron's like, I'm going to take all these guys in their prime that take this very professionally, right? And I'm going to bring in the best players around me, still not win, and hopefully get a championship out of it.
LeBron has not played with a player until now, until this year with the Lakers with AD. LeBron has not had a player anywhere close to Scottie Pippen.
Miami?
Dwayne Wade?
Dwayne Wade is the closest to it. Dwayne Wade is not better than Scottie Pippen all time. Not even close.
You can even just like, come on.
Not even close.
Even when he made the decision to go to Miami, right? To go to Miami.
Chris Bosh was
barely
trash.
even an all-star player.
Chris Bosh was trash.
But Chris Bosh was still a good, like, supporting role player.
Yeah, but he's a dime a dozen.
I mean, like, for what he did, I thought he was really well for what he played, right? He was the third wheel, but he knew that was his role. He played really well. But what I'm saying is that they built the franchise, once they got Jordan, they realized the talent they had. They built a team around Jordan, okay? The way that teams used to do it. Now players are like sitting around the locker room, they're like, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we had X, Y, and Z? And then in the offseason, like, hey, tell your agents this is what we want to do. And they do it that way now.
I would disagree with that. You know, the NBA has changed in terms of that, but that doesn't make the players better or worse. The fact that Golden State, the team that LeBron had to face off against in the finals,
and the Chicago Bulls coached them,
beat, Jordan never faced a team anywhere near Golden State's capabilities. Nowhere near
It's a completely different game, Mitch. Like,
then how can you say Jordan's the best? Because it's a completely different game.
Oh, because I believe if you put Jordan in his prime, okay, in any era of basketball, he would be a top athlete.
He'd be a top scorer.
He'd be a top athlete. He was great defensively.
He's not out rebounding LeBron. He's not out assisting LeBron.
I think
not.
I didn't say he'd be the best. I'd say he'd be a top player,
sure.
all-around player.
And
he'd be the top.
I think if you take LeBron, and you put him in Jordan's league, he's shattering records at a pace higher than Jordan.
No, because if you ever see LeBron play a physical game, he can't handle it.
He doesn't like being touched.
Jordan can play a physical game.
And he flops more than a soccer player. Are you kidding me right now?
That's the way the NBA is today. That doesn't mean he can't. You're telling me this is the same argument people use with Montana versus Brady. The argument that
it's just Brady. What's an argument?
That Brady wouldn't survive in the olden days when they actually hit the quarterback. There's no logic behind that, because why wouldn't a man who's 2 inches taller and 50 pounds heavier, why would he not survive as much? And it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's a crazy argument. There's videos of Brady taking hits and getting up and keep playing.
Well, exactly.
So that's a shitty.
On the side note, though,
it's the nostalgia factor of the guys back then were tougher.
Oh, they were.
They were. But so you're just wrong.
You're talking about a mentality, not a physicality. The guys in the NBA today are better scorers than they were. I mean, who was Jordan competing with for scoring titles? Mitch Richmond? Latrell Sprewell?
Okay, let's do this.
There was no Hardens, there was no Durants, there was no Curry. Okay. There weren't these guys that were just lights out pure scorers.
Take a deep breath. Relax. We're going to solve this right now.
Let's solve it.
Okay? We're going to put up a poll in the tap room.
Ooh.
Okay?
Bring it in the tap room.
Who's the better player?
Every time we talk about sports in the tap room, we get all the crusty old folks who are like, I don't want to talk about sports because that guy knelt down.
Yeah, the whole baseball thing I saw, I was just like,
Christ.
stop it. All right, sports is sports.
Cry on.
Every era, the older era was better than the newer era. It's happened forever. I don't care. So we'll just put it on the tap room.
Well, here's my thing. I don't have an issue with people thinking Jordan's the best.
He is.
My issue is with people thinking Jordan's the best, and there is no argument.
There's no argument. But what I'm saying is
I
that
have Jordan 3.
He made an argument. I mean,
I have Jordan 3, and I don't
3?
have LeBron number 1.
Who's your number 1 in basketball?
Kareem, who
Oh.
statistically.
Stop. Okay.
It's a good argument.
I mean, I'm not gonna say okay, whatever. But like
that's
Jordan, I'm sorry, Michael Jordan. Like, if you told Michael Jordan you score too much, you're a very selfish player. He had the most assists in the game. If you told him you're not a good defensive player, he'd get the most rebounds in the game.
But
Michael Jordan, all rounded, was a great athlete. We're gonna put it to the tap room.
That's fine.
Okay?
But I don't care.
And let's
what
just
the
make a bet
poll
about it.
says. That
Let's just
doesn't
make a bet about it.
something right or wrong.
Let's just make a friendly wager about it. What do you want to do?
But the wagers,
okay, do
but
you
the
wanna do
wagers based off a bunch of guys who grew up watching Jordan, who are of course going to say Jordan. If I go to another group that's full of 25-year-olds, they're all going to say LeBron.
I disagree.
So
I think there's still 25-year-olds that, if they really like basketball, will say that Jordan's the best. So I'll just take it. Name a group, name your wager. I don't care. Let's do it. Think about it. We'll put it up on the tap room. You tell us what the wager should be, okay? LeBron versus Jordan. Do you want to go LeBron, or who's your number 1? Who's your number 1?
My number 1's Kareem, but I would say LeBron's better than Jordan.
Okay,
He's
LeBron's better than
player.
Jordan. Let's put it up for debate.
Oof.
Let's put it up for debate.
Jordan has more success. He had a better team, and not to mention, he played in a time of expansion teams. In the mid-'90s, they added 4 teams, then took all the best free agents and put them on those teams, and it diluted the NBA to a point where it was the Bulls or nothing. The Bulls had no competition.
Yeah, no, that's true because of Michael Jordan. So what I'm saying is...
So Michael Jordan has one player.
I like what you did there.
All right. Okay, moving on. What do you want to set for a wager?
I don't want to set a wager for something that's a bunch of crusty old men. That are gonna say Jordan.
Here we go. All right. How about this?
I want to
How about
hear
this?
valid arguments on why Jordan is arguably, without a doubt,
Okay.
the greatest player ever.
I don't know if you've seen the tap room. No one's putting together a thesis. So what I'm saying, all right, is
I'm
that
asking you though, not the tap room. Don't look for your buddies for help.
no. First off, no one even knows who I'm in the tap room. Hi, I'm Brian.
True.
But what I'm saying is, right? Okay, we've debated. What we'll establish a little friendly wager, and we'll put it up on the tap room for a vote.
Let me
Is
ask
that
you-
fair? Is that fair?
That's fine. We'll do that. But
Okay.
Let me ask you another question.
All right.
If you took Jordan off the Bulls
Yeah.
and you put LeBron on the Bulls,
Yeah.
do they still win those 6 championships?
No.
Why?
Because I think
What did Jordan do in those games that LeBron's not going to do?
I think Jordan had a different team. The team had to win that mindset of the team has to do this, and that's why he always emphasized teamwork. If you look at the documentary, like how hard he was on his teammates about like you got to practice hard, you got to work hard. He was about the entire foundation has to be whole. They have, and then Phil Jackson with the triangular game plan was like you have to buy into this. Everyone has to work in unity in order for this to actually happen, in order to get those holes, in order to get those shots,
So
in
you're
order to
saying he benefited greatly by having one of the greatest coaches of all time most of his
get.
career?
I'm not going to debate that, but what I'm saying
Of
is,
course it is. So here's my argument for Jordan or LeBron is look at games where Jordan was down.
Sure.
He wouldn't come out of the game. It's for me, it's something you can't measure on statistics. It's leadership ability. When LeBron's down, he gets pissy and walks to the bench. You can see it a million times. Look up, go on YouTube and look up LeBron throwing fits.
Sure,
He'll be down by 3 with like 2 seconds left, and he walks off the court.
But we're talking about a mentality
Jordan didn't do
of
that.
Who's the better competitor, not who's the better player.
The better competitor stays in and tries to win the game.
Sure, I don't disagree with that.
And that's what makes a better player overall.
I dislike LeBron as a person, as a player.
Well, he's kind of a bitch.
I agree.
25 looks like he's 60.
I absolutely agree with that. I'm not a LeBron
he
fan.
is a big man. That's what I know.
But I sit here and I watch Jordan leave the Bulls, and that same Bull team minus Jordan wins 55 games without
Well,
Jordan.
You take a key player out of an asset, like a game plan, right?
Yeah,
that's
LeBron
a big.
out of Cleveland, and what happened? Kyrie and Kevin Love stayed. LeBron left, and what happened to Cleveland? Didn't even make the playoffs.
Real quick, because you just reminded me, because you mentioned Cleveland, which is such a joke of a city. But what I mean is, did you see? I saw a meme, and I just wanted to put it out there real quick about Cleveland with the Washington Redskins and all. Well, not the Redskins anymore.
the Washington football team.
Washington football team,
awful
right?
person.
And they go, can you imagine a team that doesn't have like a good team name or a logo on the side of the helmet, and it just shows the Cleveland Browns and their helmet, and then just them looking like this.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, all right,
Oh,
you
the
got it.
Browns.
Like you're a color of poop, and you have no logo on the back side of your.
So we've gone from talking about some of the greatest of all time to can we talk about, is there ever been a team that's been worse than the Cleveland Browns over the past like 5 years?
In just football or all sports?
All sports.
All sports.
San Diego Padres.
What era?
All.
Touche.
When I think of pathetic sports teams, that's the number one that comes to my mind.
The
I can't think of-
Padres.
Can you, off the top of your head, name a star player for them? Can you name, like...
Well, even worse is the Browns.
No.
You can name a star player, and you're
Absolutely.
still like, you did nothing.
The Browns had somewhat of a heyday for a short period of time there.
When they
Yeah,
first
they won like
integrated
3
as a
games
league.
in a year.
Yeah, they came close to success. But, no, they're pretty bad in terms
They're
of football.
so awful.
I mean,
and their fans are so dedicated, though. I'm going to give them that one.
You got to give them credit. If you can look someone like in the eye and say, I'm a Browns fan.
Oh.
That takes
Oh.
a set of cojones, because first off, your team name is awful, and then second, to sit there and be like, how can you be a fan? Well, there's always potential of next year and stuff like that. You know, like
lose enough, we'll get really good
it's just so bad. And I thought, like, I was like, wow, that you're right. Like, it takes a lot of cojones to say you're a Browns fan. Now, where do you stand if you're a Washington fan?
a Washington football team fan.
A Washington football team fan.
That is, oh God, I hate that happened, but I love it.
Don't you think it's on purpose? I think it is.
Of course it is.
I think it's purely to despite the league.
that they called it the
Snyder's on-
football team.
Snyder's on record as not wanting to get rid of the name.
Right?
They've done studies that show Native Americans don't find it offensive.
Right?
They've done all this work. This has been an argument for 10 years now.
Yeah.
He's finally changing the name to peer pressure. Do you think it's a coincidence he chooses the football team?
Oh no, it's a slight. But I mean, the guy who designed the logo, a Native American, came out and was like, "It's not offensive. I'm a Native American. I made the logo."
If I was a team
Have at
owner,
it.
I don't care. If I was getting bad publicity or anything like that, and it could cost me millions of dollars in endorsements or billions of dollars in TV deals and stuff like that, I'm changing the name. I don't care. You can call it whatever you want as long as those checks keep getting cashed.
The Cleveland Indians are going to do it too.
Right.
Everyone is. Now there's a huge thing out there for Notre Dame to change their name.
The Cleveland Indians on
Really?
their
Notre Dame?
The Fighting Irish is now offensive because it's a negative stereotype to the Irish.
That's not true. That's very accurate.
It may be, but
Have you ever given an Irish guy a shot of whiskey? He's gonna punch you in the dick after.
I mean, sometimes they're just accurate. There's a reason the stereotype was built. No, like,
yeah, but it's gonna.
I don't know if we're gonna travel down the
It's
stereotypes
gonna
are
keep
real
going,
road.
and I think what you're going to see in the future is everything is going to be City, the football team.
But no, did you see the Cleveland Indians on opening day? They were scheduled to wear their white Indians jerseys. They wore their blue jerseys that said Cleveland on because the owner, Paul Dolan,
yeah.
was like, I think we're going to change the name. I think we're going to change the name. I was like, you've got to be shitting me.
But I mean, like, back to Washington. So you change the team name. Like, that's big news,
Yeah.
right?
I'm sure their fan is upset.
And there's a few out there.
2 or 3.
And then all these sexual harassment claims come out about your organization. You're just like, God, just end the season already. Like, they don't even know if they're gonna have an NFL season yet, and they're like, just can we cancel the season and just start fresh in
We'll
2021?
get the opinion of a Washington Redskins fan because we actually have a member of Beard Cat's Tap Room that's a huge Washington Redskins fan.
Who?
Eric Jorgensen.
Okay, first off,
Or Eric
I
Snow.
don't recognize that name.
Eric Snow?
A Washington Football Club fan.
Washington football team.
Football team,
Yeah.
not European.
So I'll reach out to him and see if he can post a little video about his thoughts on the matter.
Oh God, I didn't know that. He posts a lot too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's actually
Yeah.
going to start doing a series of like cooking videos for the tap room.
I'll do a cooking video in
Cooking
my
videos?
hotel room. Like, this is me ordering Panera
like-
bread.
Making like barbecues and
Yeah.
good stuff. And
All right.
So,
I mean, we'll allow it.
I mean, why not? We allow everything else. You want to talk about stereotypes? No? All right. Let's talk about.
Cool.
So, baseball's back.
Yes.
All right. What are your thoughts? Did you watch game one? For the Red Sox.
I looked at. I dabbled a little bit. So I know at this point now there's been a handful of games. Opening day was pretty sweet. So
They looked good.
I'm a Sox fan.
Yeah, Sox fan, right? The
most runs scored on opening day. They beat Baltimore 13-2.
I was excited. I'm like, this team has a chance. Then game 2 happened, and I'm like,
I thought we were talking about opening day.
Yeah, no, hold on, because I got to deal with realities, right? Because this is this polar opening of like a Red Sox fan. You're like, we got it, bud. Like, opening day, 13 wins, got it.
I don't think anyone's in Sox Nation's got it in the bag.
That
yet.
is just my makeup Boston Red Sox fan nation. And then game 2, lose. Game 3, lose. And I'm instantly like, fuck this team. I freaking hate you so much. Like, it just that roller coaster.
So for me, baseball is kind of like my third sport. You know, everyone watches their sports. It kind of ranks on like what. Hockey and football are my 1 and 2. Baseball, yeah. I love to watch. Out of even watching the Patriots for years, watching the Bruins go up and down for years, the Red Sox are they're gonna be what kills me. They're the reason I have gray hair. Them and my goddamn daughters. Yeah. The Red Sox are gonna give me an ulcer because of shit like this. You show up 13-2, awesome, cool, and then lose. It's like, how do you go from winning the World Series to the worst team that's ever played in the history of fucking baseball?
Well, the hardest part too is that like this season, because of a condensed schedule, because of COVID and all that, right? So like these losses hurt. It's not like the beginning of like last year, like at the beginning of the season, like you take 2 losses, right? And you're 1 and 2, you're like, whatever, I don't care. But now it can, like, because the Yankees won today and stuff like that, so like your divisions can actually get really separated real quick.
Because it's a 60-game season now?
60-game season, so
I like it.
I do too.
I dig the 60-game season. The 100-some-odd game season, Christ. That's why I couldn't watch baseball, because it was just too much.
I disagree. I put it on, I'm always having something to fall asleep to. So, you know, like those afternoon naps.
I mean, yeah, I get that. Yeah, but in reality, it was just such a long season. So I dig the condensed season, and I even hope after this that they kind of get a good in between of that. Maybe like a 90-game season.
I don't know, but I just think that having a 60-game season, it's kind of like we're almost in playoff territory. You know, like you gotta start thinking about it. Like, you gotta, every game matters. Yeah. So it's much more impacted. How do you feel about not having fans in the stands?
So apparently you can buy a life-size cardboard cutout of yourself and put it in stadiums, and I really want to do that as long as they'll let me put a Beardcast logo on it.
It's not bad advertising.
Do you think I could get one like behind home plate at Fenway?
I didn't see any at Fenway though.
It's like $500, probably because no one wants to pay $500 for a cardboard cutout of themselves.
Well, you say that, but then people bought like $100 bricks.
True story. I think the fanless games are going to get old fast. Because that's what home field advantage is. And now, while people might be saying, yeah, now it's a completely even playing field, it's an even playing field. Because, I mean, really, how much is a stadium going to change other than, like, the outfield walls? These guys are professional hitters. You're not throwing them off that much by the monster. All right, so yeah, your home field advantage is still there a little bit. Taking the crowd out, it makes it even, but it takes away from the sport of it.
It does, but like me and my wife talk about it. She's like, it's weird not having fans in there, and like, you know, they put this noise in and stuff like that. But I'm just kind of like, really, does it? Because like we've sat close enough. I know, like after a few of these, I'm spitting stuff out that they probably don't want to hear, and I'm close enough. I know you hear me, right? But they're the pros and they don't care. Like all that stuff is just white noise to them and stuff like that. So
yeah, you've never rattled a professional athlete.
I've never rattled. I've tried.
I know you have.
And I once had Uke look back at me and I was like, got it. Right?
Why would you do that to Euclid?
No, I just wanted a reaction because I was close enough. Like when you spend all that money, I want a reaction from a player.
Did you tell him he had the worst batting stance of all time?
No, I think I made a comment about who his wife was and how she was related to Brady, and I was jealous and stuff like that. But
ballsy.
Just because I want some affiliation with Tom Brady. But
I know you do, buddy.
God, that man crushes strong. But what I'm saying is that you get close enough, right, and you know they can hear you, but it just doesn't rattle them. So I'm like, the play, it doesn't affect the game.
No.
Like, it doesn't affect the game at all.
But you think when the entire crowd gets into it, it has to. One guy's not going to. Of course it does. Of course it does.
I don't know.
Right? I mean, any game. I mean, look at some of your greatest comebacks of all time. Look at 7-game series.
Yeah.
If you don't think the home team gets a little more amped up when the home team crowd, I mean,
like, do you remember
for fuck's sake, man?
Old Red Sox, like back when Papelbon, you know, like when he's walking out to the mound and stuff like that, and they're playing.
Wild thing.
Was it
Or
what?
did
no.
they play Wild Thing with
No,
Pablo
it
Von?
was that
Or did they play with
the
Pablo Von?
Boston song that just got beat up so bad by Dropkick Murphys.
Oh, geez, shipping out to Boston.
Thank you.
Fucking
Right, shipping out to Boston. So, but I mean, at the time, there was a new song. Pablo Von's coming out, right, to that song, and you're just like, let's go.
Just
You know,
think about being a batter in the top of the ninth. You're down a run, bases are loaded, 2 outs. You don't think that crowd noise gets in that?
The last time I was ever a batter was in a beer league softball game, and if any person in that entire field noticed I was at bat, I got pumped.
That's true.
But,
I still couldn't hit it past the shortstop, but I was really excited that someone noticed me.
Though, like when you got people, when you have 60, whatever it is, 35,000 at Fenway, I think.
Yeah.
When you have 35,000 people booing you in a clutch moment, of course it's going to affect your performance.
Daryl Strawberry, perfect example. When crowds would chant Daryl, Daryl, he would get pissed,
But you know what I do?
and it was so cute.
I'll take all the fans out of the game right now. I'm gonna take all the fans out of the game forever. You know what I'm gonna put in instead? Steroids, because that makes the game awesome.
Stop hitting the table.
Sorry, steroids is awesome for baseball.
Okay, well, let's talk about steroids. then. So we're talking about the Indians earlier. Their catcher. Oh no, I'm sorry. It wasn't the Indians catcher. My notes are mixed up. The Nationals catcher. Trace Barrera. His name's 3. Sorry, 3 Barrera. 80 games
80 games
for
steroids.
roids. 80
That's it.
games for roids. You're brand new. Season's just started. You've had a lot of time to cover up your roids. Game 1, pisses hot. You freaking idiot.
I don't understand if you're in baseball why you're not taking steroids. If anything,
It'd be great.
it's awesome. Like we all played all the video games where you juice up your player to the max, right? Because what are you watching baseball for?
Home
Short
runs,
bu-
man.
right,
Home
that's
runs and
right.
120 mile an hour pitches. That's what I want.
I mean, and
I want to see someone clock a
and
buck
it's
20.
like it's the double edge of the scale, right? So if you got one guy, if the batter's all juicing, then the pitcher's like, well, I got to juice to keep up with that, or else he's just going to slam my stats, and I don't make big money.
Yeah.
Vice versa, right? And if so, the pitcher's like, well, I'm going to juice up so I can throw 1 billion miles an hour.
A lot of the time, the stuff that these guys are getting pinched for, it's not like old school steroids where they're sticking a needle in your ass.
Which they should.
It's just supplements that are just considered outlaws. It's stuff that you and I could probably buy on the shelf, but they can't use because it's in the MLB contract.
No, I want like McGuire back,
Yeah.
like the forearms the size of my cat, like my thighs, and he's just like all natural, right?
Like when Barry Bonds' head got bigger.
Barry Bonds was a great player before the steroids. You add the steroids, there was no baseball that stood
But
a
did you
chance.
see him after?
Yeah.
Barry Bonds wasn't a huge dude.
No.
He started juicing up, and his fucking head got bigger. It was like a Rottweiler. I was like, that's not the same dude.
But you know what?
But it
He
was.
made big money.
Yeah, he did.
He made big money, and everyone probably in Baltimore loved him.
He's not making Bobby Bonilla money right now.
Can you imagine?
He just got paid.
No judge. July 1st.
Yep.
No job in the world where you can do nothing, and they're like, "We owe you $1 million."
Weatherman.
I could be a weatherman right now, right?
Sorry.
50% chance of rain, 50% chance of not. Boom, next day, right? So 50-50 shot, bud. We'll see what happens.
But yeah, so Barry Bonds is sitting there with asterisks all over his records, and Bobby Bonilla, who was, the Pippin to his Jordan, we'll call it,
Yeah.
all of a sudden gets paid every July 1st a stupid amount of money.
God,
He did it right.
Does
Does that ever expire?
I don't know when it expires, but I just know I took a left somewhere where I should have taken a right, because somehow you get to a point that someone's like, I'm going to pay you $1 million to not do your job.
Mitch, look that one up for me. I want to see if Bobby Bonilla's contract ever expires. See if you could find that one, because his July 1st contract. I just saw that again last year, and every year I laugh at it. I was like, this guy is the smartest guy ever.
Right, the Mets.
Yeah.
It just screams Mets, too. Like,
Yeah.
did you see, all the people are trying to buy the Mets right now?
Someone wants to buy the Mets? I'll buy the Mets.
2035.
That's when his contract expires?
And he gets $1
he gets
million.
paid $1.2 million every year until
Every July
2035.
God, America is great when you can do nothing.
There's another player, Allen Iverson.
If you're one of those people out there talking shit about capitalism right now, ask Bobby Bonilla. You're fucking wrong. Bobby Bonilla is your
He's
proof.
doing it so right.
There
But
you go.
So the Mets.
There's the most political thing I'll say on Beardcast.
Allen Iverson as well. I
Yeah,
believe it's
Iverson
next
got it
year
too.
Yeah.
or close to it. He gets paid a $32 million payment from Reebok for his original rookie shoe deal.
that shadows in comparison to Michael Jordan and his shoe deal. So anyways, so
Best shoe deal of all time.
best shoe deal of all time. But what I'll say is that the Mets, now there's almost like a bidding war for it because their current owners have drained it. Like, it is garbage. They actually had to come out during COVID like, we have no money to pay anyone, right?
Except
like
Arby money, yeah.
Like, they just, so there was some big billionaire who's like a billionaire bad boy or whatever that went up for it and it fell through. Now it's like J-Lo and A-Rod are trying to buy it, and guess who they brought in? A couple under, like silent partners. El Presidente from Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy, as well.
My personal hero.
To buy the New York Mets.
Keep in mind, though, that is a very, very minor partner.
I don't
You wouldn't even have a seat at the table.
But so, like...
But it's Prez. He'll always have a
But
seat.
he's going to have a seat there. It's a presence, just like you look at Jay-Z with the Nets, right? He's a minor partner in the deal, but everyone's like, well, Jay-Z owns the Nets. So, like...
Can I come right out and say if I were to ever be starstruck by anyone, it would be Prez.
Yeah, I mean, like, Barstool Sports could possibly have a stake in the New York Mets. That's pretty big.
I'm not saying it would make me a Mets fan. 13 years old. Did I do that? I did that. I'm not saying it would make me a Mets
Puberty is great
fan.
to watch on a bearded man, but no, go ahead.
Gray-haired man. But I'm not saying it would make me a Mets fan, but I might pay attention to him if Prez was plugging him.
I mean, like, the content would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like,
Jesus.
so,
He'd bring back Strawberry.
I don't know about that. All right.
Oh.
Let's get into the normal thing. Mailbag.
Fucking mailbag.
I'm excited for it. Because we tried something new this time.
Yeah, so we asked for suggestions to the mailbag, right? And normally, so if you post in the tap room, all of like the 12 people that normally post in there, the admins, we see everything, and a lot of it comes from me, so all the approvals and whatnot. Anything that went in the mailbag this time, I try not to look. So Mitch is going to read us some questions.
I'm excited.
Maybe 2, 3, 4, whatever questions out of the mailbag, and we'll see how it goes. I have no idea what these questions are coming.
This is going to be your pure, exact, what we're thinking comment on your questions.
The only one I did see, I'm going to dog one question.
Sure.
Neil, stop asking me what my favorite Treehouse beer is, dude. I like them all, for Christ's sake. They're good. It's a good brewery.
Drink your goddamn Bud Light.
We're a nationally syndicated podcast. 90% of the people listening to this are like, what the fuck's a Treehouse? Not that thing that your kids play in. It's a brewery. They're really good. My favorite one, Julius. There. Don't ask again. Next. Mitch, what do you got?
Ryan Joyce did answer that with Mango White Claw.
Oh, you mean Ryan, the guy that was supposed to be here tonight, but he's not?
That Ryan.
This effing house Ryan? Fucking prick. Yeah, of course he drinks White Claw.
We're going to start off with 3 questions from a regular.
All right.
And that's Amber Lynn.
Of course.
Hi, Amber.
Number 1, do men tan their genitals?
Yeah. So I'll be honest, right? Back in the day, I tanned because I looked better tanned. So, all right. I have always been the preppiest boy. I get it. I am. Yeah, exactly. Okay. At one point, I had highlighted hair. I don't care. Right? I had the frost tips. I had the shell necklace, Abercrombie, everything. And at one point, I got free tanning. So I took.
How are we friends?
I don't know, but
I think we're confusing something here, though.
What?
So you tanned your genitals.
So he tanned
That
naked
means
is what
in
he's
the
saying.
tanning
Yeah.
bed,
Naked.
you lifted
Oh, did you get the gooch?
to make sure you got the genitals
I don't
in
want
there.
weird tan lines.
All right, next
Did
question.
you ever forget and flip it up? Forget it. Yeah, next question.
No, hold on. Let me explain.
Did you ever
Nope,
flip it up?
we don't. There's no explanation needed. Nope.
Yeah, you gotta do it. Yes, you tan your genitals because you're nude in there. So why not?
I never tan from my knees to here. That's it.
Yeah, okay, cool. But, like, I guess if I'm going to be tan, I'm going to be in a tan booth. I'm going to make sure I don't have any tan lines. That includes my genitals. That's the raw, God honest truth.
You and Theodore Russell are the only people on Earth that probably agree with this.
All right. Well, this should be good.
Because his point is he's 26 years old and has never seen his member tanned, and that's a problem. So you should take him under your wing, show him the
Now,
ropes.
Under your bat wing.
Now I'm 36 years old. I don't go tanning. I don't do any of that crap anymore. But back when I was young and single and it was free, yeah, absolutely. And you know what? for any young single guys out there that are doing it right now, it's summertime, so don't do it because that's weird. But in the wintertime, yeah, go ahead. Go tanning, because you know what? Chicks love tan guys.
Well, hang on a second. Why is it weird to go tanning in the summertime? If you're going to tan your genitals, you can't do that outside.
Yeah, because at that point, it's like, because if you don't get it for free, you got to pay for it. And it's weird to go to, like, some tanning place and when it's, like, a
That's the
beautiful
weird
day.
part.
Right.
Oh, okay.
That's the weird part.
That's where you're drunk. You're an idiot.
Next question.
God,
Again from
next.
Amber. How many tattoos are too many?
None. Well, no. What? I'll answer this one.
Yeah.
So, I've got like over like $5,000 worth of tattoos. I got 50 hours in the chair. When it starts going above here, that's where I start to get weirded out. Right? Like a little bit above the collar, that's one thing. But if you're one of these freaking idiots that's like, I want to permanently tattoo a number on my forehead, like that stupid rapper that squealed on everybody.
Oh, the 69 guy.
Yeah, I mean, idiot. That's too much.
How about
So
the
many.
guys that are bald and then tattoo stuff all around
No,
their
yeah,
hairline?
knock that crap off. Like on the head, I'm just not a fan.
Anything, okay, first off, if you have a neck tattoo, it just screams you're a future CEO. Like, good job, right?
you make
like
good life decisions.
Great life decisions. Again, I expect you to see you on Tiger King. You could possibly answer some questions earlier in the episode. But what I'm saying is that, like, above the neck and stuff like that, I'm just kind of like, For, like, females, for me, like, if we're going out someplace fancy and stuff like that, and you're, like, really tatted up in the dress and stuff like that, I'm just kind of like, maybe it's a little too much.
Oh, I love it.
Some guys do. That's just not me. Like, a little bit of ink, cool. But if you look like you belong in Tattoo Magazine, like when we go out, and like a formal or something like that, I'm just kind of like,
I don't like it completely solid, but yeah, I love
a little
it.
bit, I'm fine. But like,
That's one of the gifts I buy. I bought my wife a tattoo gift certificate for Christmas.
Right.
I was like, let's cover you up more.
that's fine. But I'm saying
I
like,
didn't mean it like that, babe. That's not where I was going.
if you're like,
But-
like if you go to like a formal thing,
I'll edit
and then
that out.
Yeah,
Thanks,
she has
bud.
the sleeves and all that. Then it's kind of like,
I dig it.
all right, there's another difference in our relationship.
I could have never guessed that by the everything about you.
That makes sense.
Fucking
All right, third question, and I'll answer this one first. Does tequila really make people's clothes fall off?
Gee, Mitch, tell us.
It is not a direct cause and effect. What tequila does is make women more agreeable.
Wow,
the goal-
That's rapey.
More agreeable.
And more agreeable.
That's a rapey statement.
It's true.
So, have fun on that lonely island.
Hey, Wade.
I'm not touching this one.
Oh,
I'm
no,
not
you have to touch this one. I want to hear, does tequila make people's clothes fall off? And if it does, why?
Because it's usually in a margarita.
It's the same thing as most people. Is you just get a little frisky. But no, I will say so. We touched up on this on episode 1, where if you give me a bunch of Jaeger, I'm going to punch you in the mouth. Whiskey's probably about the same thing. Tequila, you might get a little handsy, which for now being a fat, pasty, gray-haired short dude isn't exactly optimal for most people.
You should go tanning. But yeah.
I would say that it helps the process. Sure.
Exactly.
I'm gonna give it on a
Yeah,
scale.
but on the same concept, so doesn't rum, right? Because like,
I think tequila has a special effect for it.
I can tell you my effect on tequila, it's just like, oh God, please just keep it down. And then it's like, move on with the night. But like, I think, does tequila help the clothes come off? When those fruity drinks and the margaritas and like that, doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt.
What's the popular drink at the yacht club you belong to?
Well, I have like an old fashioned typically. In the wintertime.
Jesus. So does this mean we're just starting to feed Amber tequila? Is that what she was going for?
Not off of Mitch's statement, because that.
Yeah, Mitch
I
is really
stand by my statement. I stand by my statement.
Yeah.
Tequila makes you much more agreeable to do things you normally wouldn't do.
That's like the Tosh like stand up. He's like, I gotta teach my son. Like, if she says no, just give her a couple more drinks. She'll say yes. Like, it's like, jeez Louise.
We gotta not go down this road.
Nobody said you need to force feed a woman a drink. That's how it goes.
Oh God.
We've already condemned drugs on this show. We're gonna condemn feeding women drinks to get them to take their clothes off.
So many things canceled in one episode. Like,
Yeah, you're doing well for us
Listen,
right now.
all I gotta say is we have an entire episode that is currently not aired with you explaining how you got your wife.
that's true.
And if you want to talk rapey,
That's not rape.
I'm just gonna add that clip of that episode right into this section
We'll
of
call
this
it
video.
creepy. No.
I bought her a house.
Before you were together.
No, we were dating. But
We got to go back to the way the story was in the video.
Yeah, in the video.
It went
sounds
from
like we
I
weren't
saw
dating.
you on the dance floor to I bought you a house, move in with me.
Okay, I'll challenge the tap room again. Like, you meet a guy on the dance floor, and then he's like, hey, I bought you a house. Yes, that's pretty aggressive, but I'd be willing to bet there's someone maybe like, I'll look into this.
Have you seen some of them in the tap room?
Touche.
I'm not here to talk any trash, but we have some thirsty women in the tap room.
You have more thirsty men in the tap room.
We do. Correct. Obviously. There's over 1,300 people in the tap room right now. 900 something of them are
Every time
thirsty dudes.
any female posts in the tap room, I'm just like, and here we go.
Yep.
It's just, hey, pay attention to me.
I hope that's working out well for you ladies. I mean,
Yeah.
just really.
All right,
Good
we got
luck.
Logan Halidopoulos.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No one likes you, Logan. And I mean that 'cause
This
I
is
know
going to
you.
be I think he senses this based off this question.
All right.
How does one become the most hated person on the job site just by showing up?
Your name's Logan Haldopoulos.
Okay. Let me explain.
Then he makes the point asking for a friend.
No, it's not. It's for you, Logan. Literally, here's some life advice. Take everything that you know. Take your whole existence. Do the opposite, and people will like you. I don't mean to be disrespectful.
Yes, you do.
But, like, literally everything about you is awful. So just take your entire existence, do the opposite, you'll be fine. I love you. This is why I give you this fatherly advice.
Jesus.
You know Logan. Disagree.
Yeah. So Logan is a guy that we had both worked with,
Right.
At some point, and he's.
Counter. Go ahead and counter.
I can't.
I win.
I can't. You know, I would love to throw this into a debate.
Yep.
Logan, I love you, dude, but damn.
Just do the opposite
Yeah.
of your entire existence. Ever.
I feel like we all need to pour one out for Logan right now.
No.
No.
I don't know the guy, so I feel bad for him.
Don't.
10 minutes.
Don't.
That's all it'll take.
Jesus.
Tara Raymond, who's the regular, asked a question, but I don't think it's really worth answering. It's kind of a Doug kind of question. Why
Tara
are
had a
kids,
dud?
Why are kids so annoying?
Kids? Oh, Jesus.
Because they're kids.
Because they're kids.
I mean,
They're psychos.
Do you, in all honesty though, I don't think kids are so much annoying as absolutely terrifying.
Try having twins, dude. Just like the Shining in my fucking house every day.
If you think about it, any like horror film that has a child, it's 10 times scarier.
I just said it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just said it. It is the Shining in my house every day. I think I convinced my girls to dress up as the Shining twins for this Halloween, though.
There's no Halloween. I don't know how else I can tell you that. There's gonna be no Halloween this year.
Next Halloween.
Nailed it. But like seriously, like the dominance of fucking kids is absolutely crazy. Like if you can sit there, look someone of authority, and I use that term with me very loosely, right? Look at someone in authority, poop on the floor, laugh,
Yeah.
and then run away and have zero cares about it. I'm terrified of that dominance.
I've never encountered my kid
Oh,
pooping on
my
the floor.
youngest right now is just not having the potty and just rips off her diaper, poops on the floor, laughs, and runs away. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to do with that. Like, do I rub her nose in it? That's frowned upon. So
If you do, can you tape it?
no, because DHS will have a field day with that one. But what I'm saying is that, like, I am terrified of my children all the time.
Yeah.
Because I have false power. Like, I realize now as a parent, I have no authority. I'm like, do this or I'll do something.
Or I'm going to tell you to do it.
I'm
again.
going to tell you to do it again. And if you just don't do it, I'm going to get a little bit madder.
That's why
You know?
I wish, and I'm sure you do too, at some point, I love my daughters. They're so cute. At one point, I just wish I had little boys just so I could give them
I spanked each of my daughters once. And then I was like, I hit you because you hit your sister. Damn it. I got nothing. You
Yeah.
know, like,
At that point, you're like, hitting's bad.
yeah, but
So I get it.
so
I run out of ammo real quick though, verbally,
yeah.
because they just don't care. They just blank stare at me. You get this look, and then they start doing this.
My daughters just walk away.
For everyone listening, I just drifted
Yeah,
off.
at
At least if you have a boy, you can count down the days till his 18th birthday.
Yeah.
And when you can just pop him in the face when he walks downstairs.
Right, but like, with
and there's
what do you-
nothing wrong with it.
But what do you do with a daughter? Like, she just, one time I was talking to my oldest, I'm like, you can't do this, you have to learn, like, you know, and she just walked out of the room. I'm like, I was talking to you, and she's like, uh-huh. And then I'm like, all right, go to your bed, you're in timeout. And she did. She just goes, okay, and goes to her bed. I'm like, I have no power.
Something tells me that happens to you a lot at your house.
I just, then I go in my room, and then
Whoever
I
you're
cry.
talking to, just
They just walk out.
see you
Then
later.
why do you think I'm here? My wife very much encourages. She's like, "Are you not going to talk at home? Go talk over there."
When he screws up at home, his wife makes him wear a Steelers jersey.
That's only happened. I've never actually. No, I wore.
Oh.
They beat the Patriots since we've been dating and then married. The Steelers beat the Patriots once, and that was her Super Bowl. Like, that was all it took. But every time the Patriots have beat the Steelers, yeah, she's put on her Brady jersey. I put it all over Facebook. All of her friends back in Pennsylvania loved it.
So where we're recording right now, I have
Yeah.
a locker downstairs in my office, and if you open up the locker,
Yeah.
it's a picture of your family
Ha, that's right.
with your wife in a Patriots jersey.
So we had the daughters, my wife, everyone. It was the Patriots versus LA Super Bowl, last Super Bowl that the Patriots won.
Was that when you sent it out? I don't know.
Yeah. So on that Super Bowl, we took a family portrait because everyone was in their Brady jersey, and sure as anything, I have Shutterfly, and they're like, "We offer free magnets," and I'm like, "Yep. Download that picture, and I got like 50 magnets made, sent it out to all of our friends, family, and then all my friends and family.
And I have one.
So everywhere you look, there's Jen in a beautiful Tom Brady jersey.
I will say this. I have a picture of you and your family in my locker.
Yeah.
There are no pictures of my family in my office.
You need to work on that.
I have a picture of your family in my office. Is that weird?
No, I think that makes sense because, like, if anything, more people should see Jen in a Tom Brady.
You live with them. Why do you need to go to work to see them?
Like, that's what I'm saying. Would-
I'm with you on that.
If the warden asked me, like, how come I don't have a picture of our family, I'd be like, because I get to go home and see your lovely, never smiling faces when we're at home. I miss the Nasons.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
they're
it makes
back
sense.
in Maine.
We're very entertaining people.
Yeah.
If you think I'm witty, wait till you meet my wife.
She's
but
got to have a sense of humor.
she, God bless her soul, because she tolerates so much. Mostly my rants at the TV, but like I have a picture of my wife now at my desk at work because for a long time there's just like pictures of the girls, and
Yeah.
she's like, "So do you just portray yourself as a single dad at work or something like that?" And I'm like, "No, I say I'm married, like I wear the ring and all that." And she's just like, "Well, there's no pictures of us." And I'm like, "All right, give
Wow.
me a picture and we'll put a picture of us. You know, I'll put a picture up at my desk." And then we had to go through the whole thing of like, I don't like that one, this one I don't like the way I'm wearing this, and then next thing you know. So I finally got one. But yeah, I got the whole family collage.
Well, now that we've had the wholesome family talk,
Yep,
we're
all
gonna
right.
end this on a banger. We'll have Wade answer this one.
Oh, boy. What do we got?
If you had to choose how to kill a pedophile, how would you do it and why? I'll give you one guess.
Who asked that?
I thought the Catholic answer would just move them to another church.
No,
Was that a Theo question?
absolutely.
Theo Russell?
Absolutely.
Fucking knew it.
Just move them to another church.
This is bad when I can tell. How would I kill a pedophile? I don't even know where to go with this one. I mean, that's just Jesus. Talk about being caught off
He
guard.
recommends a blowtorch and gasoline.
I don't think. Can we talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I can talk about it.
I say death is too easy.
I mean, at that
That's
point,
an
you
easy
just put
way
him in
out.
jail because pedos don't do well in jail.
No.
You
Nah, bro.
you put him in Gen Pop and just watch him get fucked instead. I mean, well, not watch because that'd be weird.
Yeah.
But
No. If I'll be honest, if a pedophile ever touched my daughter or something like that, no, I'd watch it. I'd be like, yeah, you get that. Yeah, and I'd pay for no.
watch him in General Pop of
Yeah, yeah.
of
Yeah,
jail.
we need some serious rephrasing of that
No,
last
I
statement.
stand. Just like you, I stand by my statement. But I mean, that there is a world of options with this one. Like, you sit him in a chair, and then you ever see that James Bond movie where they cut a hole out in the chair so the testicles just strip down? They just sit there with a
Oh, God.
and they just sit there and hit it with a sock of rocks or something like that, and that's a form of torture.
I think that's an Asian thing on Pornhub too.
So many jokes right there.
Page
Sorry.
47.
So many jokes right there. But just like, yeah, strap him in a chair, and I'd just be like, you're gonna wish you died.
How about a Super Bowl at halftime? Everyone in the stadium gets a rock.
It's not a bad idea.
You put them right in the middle.
I don't know. We're out of beers, and I think this is how we're ending this one.
I told you it was going to end on a banger.
My beer's empty, and I don't think I want to go any farther with
But
this
we need
one.
an answer.
Gen Pop in prison. That's kind of what I'm going with.
Yeah, but the question is,
How do you
how
kill
would you
him?
kill him and why?
No,
Well, why I think really is kind of self-explanatory.
No,
I'm
but
a
why
father.
why did you choose that way to kill him? I think is the question, not why did you kill him.
I guess because prison justice at that point would be the most satisfying to watch.
So he's dying in prison.
Ooh,
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
Wait,
All right.
you watched
Acceptable.
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Okay. Snip, burn to close down the wound, and then the walk of shame through a town.
No, if I was gonna go with a
I think they do that in third world countries.
no, if
Like, I would definitely do that.
if I was gonna go with a show way to do it,
Yeah.
did you ever watch Vikings?
Yeah.
The
Oh.
Blood Eagle.
Nope. Too easy for them.
Snap his ribs and toss
Yeah.
his lungs over his shoulder.
Nope. Nope. I want the public, like, you just got castrated.
Well, I did it in public.
Right, but castrated. And then you got to go, like, kind of like what Mitch said, like, everyone in the Super Bowl gets a rock. Like, you got to walk through the town.
You could just force him to watch the Last Dance documentary. Oof. And that's time to finish.